From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big morning of Mornings LA with incredible details and world exclusives about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. New exclusives this morning. In the last few days, this channel has been reporting that Democratic senators and House members, staffers, report that the negotiations are near complete on the inclusion of a stimulus check provision that will pay monthly stimulus checks, which will be $1,000 a month after the first month of 2000. My reporting is now indicating that the negotiations are near complete, or actually close to being complete, that the inclusion will be written by Jalapal, Pelosi, and also Omar and AOC. That inclusion will go on the House side and will pay checks for 18-year-olds and older near the same eligibility as the prior stimulus checks. But that the president is being very careful not to release the entire bill, as he said that in a press conference this morning. We may see parts of the bill today, if not early next week, but that may still be changed. I'll explain what's going on in this recording. Then we'll cut to the first 645 pages of that reconciliation budget bill that pays checks for hazard pay, individuals, workers, seniors, and more. We'll be cutting to cluster number 3, which has incredible checks in there, including checks for paid leave. Then we cut to cluster number 3 that has checks for seniors and even checks for your home. Boy, and then comes the big world exclusive, as an additional $107 billion has been located by this channel that is now allocated in that third cluster for you. An additional $13 billion coming out to cities and counties, states for third stimulus. The financial markets react to the potential debt ceiling limit for next week. I'll explain the details on that as more. And then I'll explain to you briefly why the crypto implosion overnight, because a PCR, is important and significant for you. It's a big day with a lot of breaking details and world exclusives starting right now. Morning, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day across the board, and I hope the weather is good where you are. Thank you for joining me on a big morning's broadcast. The toast is toast and the butter is butter, and I'm here, you're here, and world exclusives are here as well. It's important to understand that with a channel that has 20 hours of programming a day, I have enough time to go through the incredible details of what's going on in this $3.5 trillion reconciliation budget bill. I have a lot of world exclusives in this recording. The first one off the bat is that the president's very careful on not releasing the whole bill to suggest that it is a etched in stone situation, because it's not. In fact, you're going to see in this recording how provisions that don't concern you are coming in and out daily. And the media that has been covering congressional reports for nearly 100 years have been detailing this insertion and exertion of items across the board. But when it comes to you and that IRS monthly stimulus checks, the staffers and congressional leaders, Senate and House, tell this channel exclusively that the negotiations are near finalized. That'll be $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000. That the negotiations were the result of House and Senate Democrats, Nancy Pelosi asking for a lot more money, but got this provision. And now the provision is being written up by AOC, Jalapal, Pelosi, and Omar. I'll be going over more about this in this recording. Then we cut to the first cluster of checks, which has money for hazard pay, money for workers, incredible sums of money even for bikes. Then we cut to cluster number 2 that has more checks in there, including weatherizing your home. Cluster number 3 that is checks for cheaper prescription medication. We'll be cutting to the debt ceiling limit, which was likely, in my prediction, to lapse next week. Does not impact you. I'll explain in the final 15 minutes of this video. And then we'll be going over third stimulus, a lot in this recording. And it's a big exclusive recording with a lot of breaking news and new exclusives this morning. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Thank you for the incredible last 2 weeks, biggest 2 weeks of this channel, nearly 3 months. Let's keep it going. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Meantime, stay with me this weekend, because Congress is working on this weekend on this legislation. So stay with me this weekend. I'll have breaking news and world exclusives as well, all throughout the weekend. Let's cut first to that IRS monthly stimulus check provision. My sources have told me, and also congressional staffers have told viewers of this channel, that the insertion of a stimulus check IRS provision has been the topic of negotiations all last week and this week, but that the negotiations are near complete. I had been reporting for over LALATE, the news website, which is nearly 2 years and 2 decades in existence, has been reporting all this week the negotiations are near complete. I'm reporting this morning that the negotiations are basically complete. That the negotiations were the result of Pelosi advocating for a larger monthly, Liz Warren advocating for a larger monthly and a longer duration, but they couldn't get it. They couldn't get 12 months and they couldn't get $1,400 a month. So they got $1,000 a month over 6 months. After the first month is $2,000. Excluded from this will be children ages newborn to age 17 because they're paid the CTC check that's coming up later in this video. The payment would be the same for everyone across the board. We do not know anything else about the eligibility, but we are to presume it would be the same as previous stimulus packages. $75,000 individual or less, married couple $150,000 or less, and up to family household of 4 for this check. Now, let's go over where we are in this ball game. The President of the United States addressed the press this morning and also addressed the press yesterday. And his message was much the same, that 24 hours ago, Schumer and Pelosi came out and said the framework is done on the recon. The president's White House staff immediately walked that back. Why? Because they want to make it clear that this is not an etched in stone situation. What does that mean? It means that they're still taking things in and taking things out. For example, a inheritance tax was in there by the early part of this week, is out. Doesn't concern you. Most viewers it won't concern. It's for billionaires. It was in, it's out. Things that Ron Wyden, when inserted about taxes, got in by the middle of this week. So there's a lot of things that are going in and out. Why do you not hear this on the number 3 broadcast channels? They don't have 20 hours a day to dedicate to this program, to the subject. But if you do read some of the oldest congressional newspapers, and I don't mean, the ones you get on the newsstand. I mean, these are very, very old congressional newspapers. They're covering the insertion in exertion. And even Richard Neal, head of Ways and Means, says some of the stuff I released, the 645, they're still getting modified. So I want you to understand this. This is why advocacy is important down to the very last second. Now, I'm going to have more about this later in this video, but let's get to the first 645 pages of the reconciliation budget bill that has been released, and they are incredible. There's checks in there for hazard pay individuals, for seniors, for children, for bikes, cars, students, and also the home. What's important to understand is the reconciliation budget bill, to be eligible for it, you don't have to incur anything because of COVID. All right, let's go over this first set of checks. We'll go over cluster number 2's checks right after that, cluster number 3's checks right after that. I got a lot of checks to cover for you in this recon video. All right, the first 645 pages starts with hazard pay. Hazard pay is included in there, and that's a huge one for this channel. This channel was the biggest advocacy place on the planet for hazard pay. For nearly 500 videos I recorded advocating for hazard pay in 2020 and early 2021. They're going to make it a lifetime provision. How are they going to do it? They're going to take an old tax code called the Earned Income Tax Credit, EIC, modify its language, increase its eligibility so more people are eligible for it, for essential workers, and expand the payment, make the payment bigger, so that every year that you work as an essential worker, you'll qualify for this money. It's huge. Then, the big surprise came from Representative Richard Neal, a provision that no one saw on their radar, inserted in there. It's up to $4,000 a year if you care for the elderly person. This is huge for a lot of care providers that have an elderly person in the household. You might be eligible for it. And then up to $4,000 for care for a young child. That's per year. Then, the big surprise, money for college students. Yes, grants for college students, no less than potentially 3 of them. The Pell's grant made tax-free, a grant to the universities, and then potentially a grant directly to you. What about $51,000 of MSC, which stands for monthly stimulus check or multiple stimulus checks? It's in there. $51,000 of them. This is the CTC, the child care tax credit. The CTC will become lifetime. How does this work? If you're a parent and you just gave birth to a newborn child and you're a low-income family household, you qualify for this. How much does it pay? Up to $300 a month. So for every month that the household remains a low-income household, you'll get up to $300 a month, every year, over 18 years per child, which is $51,000 approximately per child. It's huge. How about money for a bike, a car, a vehicle? It's in there as well. Boy, if you want to buy a new electric bike from the U.S. manufacturer, up to 15% of the purchase price will be paid by the federal government. What about a new electric vehicle from the number 3 auto manufacturer or truck? It's included. Let's go over the details. Personal use, up to $7,500. Business use, up a little bit more. And a truck, electric truck for business use, up to a little bit more as well. Finally, your home. If you have a home in a low-income community, the federal government will be giving grants or incentives so you can repair that home in that low-income household, in that low-income community. And there you go. That is the first 645 pages of what could be an upwards of an 8,000-page bill that Schumer and Pelosi confirmed less than 24 hours ago. The framework is done. And the language my reporting is potentially all written up. They're still just modifying it. I'm going to go over cluster number 2's checks and cluster number 3's checks in just a second. But first, here's a surprise as we detour over the third stimulus. Third stimulus was already law. It has an additional $13 billion coming out to your cities, counties, and states for rent, utilities, and mortgage assistance. It went out last week and continued this week from the Department of Treasury. The third stimulus allocation was $47 billion, but the final 13 hadn't gone out until now. Treasury says it's happy to provide the state and local governments with these additional resources to help Americans in time of rental assistance. All right, let's cut back to some more checks. Those more checks are cluster number 2's checks, and they are deliciousness. Lots of checks, and they pay a lot of money. There's about 12 of them in cluster number 2. The first one is paid family and medical leave. What is that? Family leave, you have to stay at home because your spouse is pregnant. Medical leave, you have to stay at home because your child broke their leg. How much does it pay? A lot. Under third stimulus was supposed to pay it was supposed to pay up to $1,700 a week for an individual who makes $70,000 or more per year. Let's split it in half. $35,000 a year is your annual salary, $800 a week. Let's split that in half further. Let's say your annual salary is $15,000 a week. You'll get up to $400 let's say $15,000 is your annual salary. You'll get up to $400 a week under this incredible provision. The federal government will give it to the employer, who will then give it to you to be paid. Check number 2, expand your child care programs. Check number 3, tax credits, including enhanced child tax credits. Number 4, weatherizing your home. I love this one. Weatherizing your home. Definitely needed when the Purple Hawks are on the roof. Especially when the Purple Hawks land on the roof of Fox News. Yeah, you don't want to see that. The visual is just mind-blowing. But weatherizing your home. This is great, especially if the home is in a hurricane area, tornado area, or a fire area. This is the second check for the home that is in this provision. Now let's go to the second set of checks in this recon for students. Free pre-kindergarten, and then tuition-free community college across the country. This is very needed because there's currently a very popular class in the community colleges called What the Hell is LATE Saying 101. He talks really funny. He has a real strange accent. Those folks out of LA, they just have a strange accent. I don't understand what they're saying. Do you understand what they're saying, Bubba? I don't. So, pardon my French, but now you can understand what the world I'm saying. That's a very good class to take. And then green energy checks as well. Wow. I'll be cutting to cluster number 3 in a second. But first, let's understand, how do they come up with these pages? Where are these pages written? And are the pages written? These are details you're seeing for the very first time today in this recording. So the legislators, when they wrote the first 645 pages, they had agreed upon them early on. How do they come to these agreements? Behind closed doors. Yes, House and Senate are in session, but that means nothing to us. Why? Because the legislators are coming to the agreement behind closed doors. In their offices, they're having negotiations, on the phone, having meetings. Say, what do you think about this? I like it. Go write it up. And once they have enough provisions, they went and wrote it out, the first 645 pages. So, for example, 15% for the bike, I like it. Go write it up. $4,000 for care for the elderly, I like that. Go write it up. Now, How about the remaining pages of the reconciliation budget bill? My sources indicate that a lot of the pages have been written up. They're just not releasing them because of a series of different reasons. One, Richard Neal explains to us, he's House of Ways and Means, that the first 645 pages that were written, they're still modifying stuff because they're still negotiating some of the terms and moving monies around. And they're modifying things that concern the tax code, not particularly your money. Then, number two, the president was very clear in the last 2 days that he doesn't want to make it clear that this is what you got, take it or leave it. He doesn't want to make it look like a take it or leave it situation. So he's making the situation look very, very fluid. Third, the parts are being written in different groups, writing different parts. And my sources are telling me, and the viewers of this channel have been told, both Dragon, I'm a little bit out of focus. Both Dragon, Paul, and several other viewers have been told that AOC, Jayala Pelosi, and Omar are writing up this recon language for your MSC IRS stimulus check. So let's cut to cluster number 3. More checks for that and another world exclusive of $107 billion. Wow. Cluster number 3 is free school meals for all checks, tax break checks, cheaper prescription medication checks, checks for free internet, checks for farmers, checks for free for workers like independent contractors, checks for seniors like checks for lowering eligibility age, checks for dental, checks for vision, checks for hearing care. Okay, how about $107 billion? I like that. I said $107 billion, not $107. What's going on? A week ago today, the Senate parliamentarian quietly ruled, no one saw this story except me practically, ruled that a provision in this third cluster that doesn't concern you, concerns the judiciary, can't belong in there. They were going to give money to the judiciary. So what did I do? Well, in a world exclusive, I went back and I cross-referenced notes to figure out how much money was that to be. And my notes reveal that was to be $107 billion to judiciary. Well, guess where the money's now going to? Your programs. This is huge. There's 2 clusters of items under this third. There's 2 items of checks under this third cluster, which the president particularly like, and I like because they're nearly automatic. The first one is cheaper prescription medication. How will this work? Let's say you go to the pharmacy today and you take out 2 $20 bills to pay for a prescription. This becomes a law, let's say next week, for example. I'm just using a date. And then you go back to refill the prescription a month later. You take out one $20 from your bill, saving an extra $20 in your bill. They're slashing the prescription medication prices. Then they're going to offer free internet. How's this going to work? The federal government is going to give fortunes to cities, counties, and states so that they can offer free internet services, run their own free internet companies. One of them they're thinking of running is called T-Mobile. That's a sirloin business. That's a sirloin corporation. T-Mobile. So when you reach out to them, yes, they say, hey, can you prove that you live here? Of course I live here. I tripped on their scarf yesterday. And then they say, okay, here's the username and password for the Wi-Fi. The password is Blaine666. If you're a longtime viewer and know who that is, jump in the live chat. And there you go. In the second half of this video, we have a lot coming up. We'll go over why your advocacy needs to continue, because we have a group that is still modifying things. And until the president signs it, you want to continue advocating. I'm going to show you how advocacy works and how advocacy has been winning on this channel, how you've been making history since December 2020, and how you have the opportunity to make history again. We'll be cutting to third stimulus. We'll be cutting to fifth stimulus, and we'll be going over shortly the debt ceiling limit, how you need to understand what it is and what it isn't. And then finally, a little bit about what's going on with Wall Street, because it can get very messy in the next few days and weeks. Of all those details and more, I'll be back with you in 60 seconds as a big extended Mornings LA continues. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals. Reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on Mornings LALATE. The toast is toast and the butter is buttering. I'm here, you're here. And please extend your prayers for Michael Clark's family. He's on the live chat, and both his grandparents are in ICU with COVID. So please extend your prayers to Michael, and he is on the live chat right now. In the second half of this video, we'll go over more about the world exclusive and more details of what's going on as Democratic leaders near the finish of the drafting and the inclusion of an IRS monthly stimulus check, of all the details and why you need to advocate down to the wire and who you need to advocate with. Then we'll be cutting to what those Democratic leaders are also doing with the debt ceiling limit. I'll explain what that means and what it doesn't mean. We'll be cutting to a third stimulus with an additional $13 billion cash infusion and the nonprofits that are paying money overnight. Oh boy. And then I'll have a little preview of this stimulus and also what's going on with Wall Street. It's a big morning. I got a lot to cover. I'm glad you're staying to the very end, and this is Mornings LA. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Next up is Mornings Crypto. That will be one of the most important shows you may have watched this week. Watch that show. It'll explain to you what's going on with Wall Street and crypto as a massive crash, which I have been reporting would happen for no less than 2 months, happened this morning. Then also stay with me at noontime. I'll be back with you live on air. So subscribe, like this video, and consider becoming a member. Let's go right to third stimulus, which is very, very exciting. Third stimulus has an additional cash infusion of $13 billion landing in your cities, counties, and states. This is huge. Every city, every county, whether red, blue, rich, or poor, is getting this cash infusion. Let's go over this money right now, how you get it. Get a pen, paper to take notes, and get that cell phone ready. We're going to go over rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, SNAP, and more. First, the money on this channel has now literally doubled, tripled, or quadrupled that viewers are getting, and especially members, I hope you are one as well, in the last 30 days. When we were talking about rent a month ago, viewers on this channel from Nisi all the way to Nancy were getting $20,000 to $27,000 for rent. Let's look at the monies that they're getting for rent now. This was a month ago. Guess what? Late last week, Jen got nearly $40,000. Several viewers got over $35,000. An enormous growth. When we look at the money for utilities, Mark's brother-in-law got $15,000 last week. You remember Mark. This is Mark, $51,000 Mark. Well, the numbers for utilities have gone up 300%. The numbers for SNAP have gone up 400%, with Mark's brother-in-law getting $21,000. Let's go over all this big money for you right now. I'm going to show you how to get this money. First, 6 places I'm going to show you. Reach out to all 6. Each have different eligibility. They have their own pot of money. Number 2, listen to the keywords I say in this video. And number 3, listen for the nonprofits. They're paying quickly. All right, here you go. Here are the 6 places you reach out to. Your city hall, your city house authority. Your county hall, your county house authority. Your state hall, and your state house authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage, or utility assistance because of COVID. Now, what's important to understand is that if you're a member, which I hope you are, daily in the newsletter sent out by me, which comes out at about 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time nightly, I now include the Treasury news statement from last week, where they're dedicated an additional $13 billion to your cities, counties, and states. I want you to read that. Why? If you have gotten money before, If you haven't gotten money before, you need to know what that says. Because when you call up to ask for money and you ask for the money, potentially they'll say, we are out of money. That may be the situation today. It won't be the situation in a day or two because they're getting the money. Ask them to be on the waiting list. Ask them if they don't have a waiting list, ask them if you can call back the next day. I want you to know what this thing is so when you call up, you know what you're talking about. Next, I want you to get money as far as you can in the future. So even if you're Nisi or Nancy or Mark, I want you to get money into 2022 if possible. Then, utilities. I want you to reach out to all 5 utility companies. If you have 5 utility companies, don't reach out to one. Finally, the nonprofits. The nonprofits have been the big surprise of this week because they are literally paying overnight. One viewer wants me to tell you that St. Vincent de Paul is paying rent very quickly, literally overnight, and their application process is very easy breezy. Another viewer wants me to tell you the same about United Way. Then one viewer got a brand new refrigerator from another charity, a brand new furnace, and got her window fixed. Let's go over the 5 nonprofits right now. They're featured as well in the nightly newsletter, or the PDFs as they were used to call, on this channel that come out to members. United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, St. Vincent de Paul. Let's go over them again. United Way, Salvation Army, Catholic Charities, Community Action, and St. Vincent de Paul. What's important to understand with the nonprofits is they are totally different than the federal government. Number one, they don't have the same eligibility. You don't have to be behind on things often. Number two, they pay for a lot of different things the federal government often doesn't pay for. They'll pay, of course, for rent, utility, mortgage assistance, food, but they'll also do incredible stuff for homelessness into shelters. They'll often help with clothing. They may help with appliances or home or a broken window or weatherization. A lot of viewers have gotten weatherization paid this week. So they do incredible stuff. Reach out to them. It's important you understand the importance of third stimulus. And I want to make this very clear to you. Forced stimulus will not be paying you a check in your wallet this month. You're not going to get a check in your wallet this month for forced stimulus. The nonprofits, you can literally go 24 hours and get a check from them. That's how quickly it happens. All right, let's touch to the next pile of money. The money for SNAP. This is huge. That money for SNAP comes from the Department of Agriculture, and you want to reach out to them to get that money. Mark's brother-in-law got $21,000. Now he's getting $26,000. Why? Department of Agriculture is raising everyone's benefits up an average of 25% lifetime automatically starting October. But this has caused a lot of confusion. Let me explain what's going on. There's often 2 letters going out. You are on a step-up basis from January to September, which is now over. So you're going to get a letter saying that's now over. And a lot of people get that letter saying, oh my God, they're cutting my benefits. Well, there's another letter behind it that comes separately in the mail that says, okay, and now we're raising you 25% lifetime. Yeah, I don't know why they had to send it as 2 separate letters. It's causing people a lot of confusion. Just keep it calm. It's the second letter's coming. Then there's 2 unemployment benefits checks that are coming back to you. The first one from your state due to overpayment of computer error. The average payment is $2,000 to $5,000. This is if you overpaid initially due to computer error. And finally, the refund check if you paid taxes on the 2020 unemployment benefits. Average payment is $1,200 to $2,000. Margaret got it, Cod got it, Michael got it. And if you're in the live chat, post your success stories because when you do, you inspire people. Finally, if you've not become a member, consider doing so. The member link is under the video. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Daily members are delivered from me to them at about 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube community page and also the LA Alert system. The newsletter, formerly the PDFs. The newsletter breaks down the first, second, and third stimulus money you can get and everything that's proposed in the fourth and fifth stimulus. It's important to understand that I want you to get money as far into the future as possible. So if you are a Nisi or an Art Sullivan who got some money before from this channel, I want you to get more money, again, further. You don't have to get it from the same place. You can get it from another agency. I want you to get as much money as possible because this money pays right now in the case of the nonprofits. In the case of third stimulus, some of the turnaround times are literally instantly. And the nonprofits pay for a lot of different things. Consider becoming a member today so you get access to all that incredible money. Johnny got $80,000, Mark $51,000, Lorraine $100,000. Johnny's family members, two of them got $50,000 each. That's $100,000. And Mark's friends and family and neighbors got $50,000. Jen last week $40,000 for rent. You can do as well. Consider becoming a member today. And with that, we go into the final 15 minutes of this video, starting right now with that MSC IRS stimulus check. 8 weeks ago, people were saying, I don't hear, I don't think, I don't know. And I said, you need to advocate for things. And that's what advocacy gets you. And at the time, I said, pick up the phone and call and advocate to Senate Democrats and House Democrat offices. And not a lot of people did, but WR did. He picked up the phone and called Senator Chris Coons, Democrat, Delaware, advocated for the inclusion of a monthly IRS stimulus check. And Senator Chris Coons' office said, yes, he's doing it. At that time, it was a world exclusive, but some people said, it's just Chris Coons. And I said, it's not just Chris Coons, because we have letters across the board. What's important to understand is that even at that time, broadcast media, the number 3 channels, they don't have time to spend 20 hours a day going through the drafting, the legislation, the vote, the negotiations. They don't have time to go through this topic of this channel. They don't have programming time allocated for it. And that is why this channel has succeeded, because I stayed with the incredible detail of the subject matter with you point on, point off. It happened dramatically, though, 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, I was telling viewers of this channel, when the first pages of the recon bill are released, you're going to see them released from the House Budget Committee, because I believe the House Budget Committee is going to write it, not the Senate Budget Committee. We now know I was correct. I also told you Bernie Sanders is very important in the equation because he had emerged from negotiations in the month of July saying, I was the negotiator for both the Senate and House Democrats to pass the recon procedural at a price tag of $3.5 trillion. He got you that number. He wanted $7 trillion. He got $3.5 trillion. He was ecstatic about it. At the time, I said Bernie Sanders is very important to the equation because he's the budget chairman of the Senate Budget Committee. Yeah, there's a Senate and a House Budget Committee. 3 weeks ago, he made a pivotal quote that changed everything. He said that unlike prior budget chairmen, I like to get out amongst the people and hear from them. I said, if you listen to those words, he's saying he wants you to pick up the phone and advocate. What does advocacy look like? This channel was bred on advocacy. In 2020, this channel made history when I came up with the idea in a recording to put a stimulus check in a continuing resolution budget bill. People called me out, calling it the craziest, stupidest thing they'd ever heard. I knew it didn't belong in there. I said it doesn't belong in there, but I said we had to get it done, and that was the only place to put it there. And we got it done. It became the second stimulus check of $600. In 8 weeks ago, I started advocating, telling you to advocate, picking up the phone and advocating, because a lot of people weren't talking about it. We needed to talk about it. And when Bernie Sanders said, I want to hear from you, I said, pick up the phone and call him. And Brother Joshua did, Margaret did, and Lynn Glenn did. What does advocacy for stimulus look like? In the last 48 hours, we have seen viewers really step up and represent you, myself, this channel, and Americans the proudest way that can be. When Margaret picked up the phone and called a staffer and told the staffer everything that she's gone through, so much so that Margaret broke down and cried, and the staffer cried as well. Another viewer, whose name I'm withholding because of privacy concerns, picked up the phone and called and said, I lost my husband during COVID. I have 2 adult daughters I'm raising during COVID. I'm on SSI and SSDI. It doesn't pay enough, and I've just endured 10 surgeries. And the staff were breaking down in tears and saying, yes, we're doing this for you, ma'am. Brother Joshua brought that advocacy for us, for himself, for his church and his family. When picking up the phone 3 weeks ago and calling Bernie Sanders' office saying, I need a stimulus check. Brother Joshua is a 2020 volunteer at the community page who helped thousands of viewers get money for rent and utilities. He's also a Purple Hawk. And Bernie Sanders' office 3 weeks ago told Brother Joshua that, yes, Sanders' office will be including a monthly stimulus check provision of $1,000 to $1,400, 3 to 6 months. It was a world exclusive then, but yet some people still said it's only Bernie. It's just only Bernie. Bernie's office said he needs to hear your support, and that changed everything. It started with Donnie, and the floodgates of this channel had everyone picking up the phone and calling. I told you who to call and where to call, and boy, did you ever. It started with Sanders' office when Donnie picked up the phone and called and saying, I need it for my family, for my city. This is what I need to progress and improve. I need it for my water bill. And Sanders' office telling Donnie he's putting in a monthly stimulus check. Hurricane Tina for everything she's endured in the last 30 days, picking up the phone and advocating in Sanders' office saying, yes, they're putting in a monthly stimulus check in there. Carolyn, who's always in Morning's Countdown, our 7 a.m. show, picking up the phone and advocating in Sanders' office saying, yes, we're putting a monthly stimulus check in there. Carolyn saying, we've lost everything. People are losing their homes and everything they got. Sanders' office agreeing. Yaya for everything that she has endured as a wonderful purple hawk of this channel, picking up the phone and advocating with Ron Wyden's office, and Wyden had already put in writing he's doing it. His office confirmed again he's doing a monthly stimulus check and even considering the inclusion of SS200. And then it took it to another level when Will showed us that it doesn't start with one phone call, it starts with several. Will picked up the phone and called 3 offices in one day: Sanders, Warren, and Schumer, advocating this is what I need. And it was perhaps Elizabeth Warren's office that was the most surprising. When Liz Warren came forward and saying she's advocating for $1,400 to $2,000, 6 to 12 months, which is interesting about this because that's exactly what Pelosi tried to get during the negotiations. She tried to get 12 months, couldn't get it, and tried to get $1,400 a month, couldn't get it as well. But that was what Elizabeth Warren was trying to fight for you as well. Lorica really gave us a big bombshell a week ago when she got Bob Casey's office on the phone, and Casey saying we're near negotiations completion of the inclusion of that stimulus check. It was at that point that I said, okay, we have now had Schumer, Casey, Coons, Wyden, Warren, Schumer, all confirming to viewers of this channel as Senate Democrats that they're inserting a monthly stimulus provision in the recon when they get it. But I said, you know, everything how it works on this channel, because I go through it. You want to try to get the House Democrats to do it first because they have the bill first. I have been reporting over the last 3 months that I believe the House will vote first and the House will write it. So you want to also go to the House and advocate there as well. While we had Casey, Schumer, Wyden, Warren, Sanders, Coons, I said pick up the phone and go to AOC, Jayalapal, and Omar. And you did. And that is when it started to roll even bigger. Then Paul picked up the phone and called AOC's office a week ago today, and AOC's office comparing $1,000 a month after the first month, 6 to 12 months. Then Janice, who yesterday got Omar's office and confirmed on the phone, confirming monthly as well. Janice, earlier this week, got Jayalapal's office confirming monthly as well. Mark, which we saw earlier in this video, $51,000 Mark, got Pelosi's office on the phone earlier this week, and Pelosi's office confirming they're near finish on negotiations for $1,000 a month after the first month of 2006 to 12 months. And then Dragon getting the same confirmation from Pelosi's office 2 days ago that they're near finalization and that Pelosi has the same provisions in there for 6 months. And then I said pick up the phone and call for Omar. Paul did as well yesterday, 2 days ago, and Omar's office confirming $1,000 a month after the first month of 2000 for 6 months. Ida getting the same confirmation from Omar's office, and there's Glenn getting the same thing from Jayalapal's office. Where do we stand right now? Where we stand right now is the offices of both Senate Democrats and House Democrats have told viewers of this channel over and over again that the negotiations are near complete or are complete, that the provisions will be $1,000 a month after the first month of 2 months, after the first month of $2,000 to run for a total of 6 months. 18 years or older, and there you go. We don't know anything else at the moment like the amount of annual income to be eligible. We're presuming it would be the same. And we're being told that the authors of these provisions are AOC, Omar, Pelosi, and also Jayalapal. Now, what we also have seen on the outside looking in is that Schumer has said the framework is done. Pelosi said the framework is done to press. And the president has also said, I don't want to make it sort of look like etched in stone. So he wants to make it a little bit fluid looking. And we also know that Richard Neal has sort of taken the first 645 pages that concern taxes, not you, but taxes, like inheritance taxes, taken them back and modified some of the items. So the situation is very fluid. We could see what has been written about the subject matter later today, or we could see it next week, early next week. Now let's go shortly over to this stimulus, debt ceiling limit, and also what's going on off Wall Street. Debt ceiling limit. This is a big one, and it's important. And viewers have said, thank you, LA. It's very helpful. It's helpful because lack of information is scary if you don't know what something is. So let me explain what it is. Number one, it's nothing for you to be worried about whatsoever as we sit here in September. What is the debt ceiling limit? The debt ceiling limit concerns the inability of the federal government to come to an agreement about how to fund the federal government for existing laws. The deadline is next week. I am predicting that they're going to miss the deadline. I think they're going to miss the deadline. Does that impact you? No. So let me go over the first question that I know I'm going to get, because we've done this actually 3 times before on this channel over the last year and a half. Your checks, if you're on Social Security, your checks if you're on benefits like SSI and SSDI, your checks if you're a federal employee, your checks if you're a member of the military, will come on time. Your checks will not be delayed. They will not be stopped. They will not anything. You have no concern about your checks for a few days, few weeks of delay. The concern kicks in if this goes into December. Yeah, if it goes past Thanksgiving in December. Very, very unlikely that this goes on for 2 months. At the moment, a few days means nothing. A few weeks means nothing for you. So your checks will come on time. Number 2, does it impact for stimulus recon? Absolutely, categorically, 100% does not. The debt ceiling limit concerns paying for existing laws. It's not law yet. We have an emoji for this. It's not law yet. It's not even a bill yet. It's not law yet. It concerns the federal government's ability to pay for existing laws. Trump's laws, Biden's earlier laws. Now, who's actually out there fabricating this? Mitch McConnell. He's actually saying that the debt ceiling limit has something to do with the recon. It has absolutely nothing, because the recon's not law. It's not a debt. You don't have a debt if you don't have a law. Yeah, but even the conservative publications are calling them out for trying to play that game. No one's buying it. Third, does it impact the work process or the schedule of the House members? No. Nancy did this really well. She wrote what she had to write about the debt ceiling limit, sent it over to the House, sent it over to the Senate 2 days ago. It's done. So the House members who are writing your recon, they don't have to do anything to write about the debt ceiling limit. They're already written it. Does it take up any time for the senators? No. The senators are their own little cluster that deal with the debt ceiling limit. This cluster that deals with this is a whole different group of people. So it's totally fine. Next, fifth stimulus. Fifth stimulus starts in the fall, starts in September, out for a vote potential by November, December. Raise your benefits up if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, applies a new benchmarks inflation. Removes the marriage penalty, removes the income cap, and removes the asset cap. You're not likely to see the impact of this until potentially December, and then more next year. Finally, Wall Street. What's going on for Wall Street? There is a big concern that the Federal Reserve is not accurately indicating where inflation is right now. I've been saying this for a few weeks. Jeremy Siegel, that smart guy from Wharton School of Business, who I feature on this channel a lot, said much the same this morning. The Federal Reserve's current numbers suggest that inflation will reach 4%. I've been saying 5%. Jeremy Siegel says it's not 4%. In fact, it's higher. Well, that's no surprise. And he says that once the Federal Reserve says we undervalue the number, it may hurt Wall Street badly. He also said, Jeremy Siegel, this morning, that the impact of inflation, or the spike of inflation, is already being felt in the consumer market, the supermarkets, the gas stations. So we may not see the inflation number, even though it's there, for about 60 days out. Finally, one of the big indicators about this as well is the Evergrande implosion in the Chinese real estate market, which is impacting U.S. soils, and the implosion of crypto overnight. This channel was predicting for nearly 2 months that there was going to be a fifth and massive PCR, People's Republic of China, announcement to crash crypto. And it happened this morning, exactly as predicted. I'll have more about that next, live on Mornings Crypto, and also overnight's crypto as well. So with that, so much happening across the board. What I need you to do is I need you to, one, pick up the phone and advocate. Advocate. Call Omar. Call Jayalapal. Call Pelosi. Call also AOC. Advocate. I need a stimulus check because this is why my family needs it. I want you to pick up that phone and advocate. Number two, I want you to lean on the nonprofits. If you haven't gotten every penny you can get more pennies. And if you got enough pennies, get some more pennies into next year, because the nonprofits are paying really quickly and really well. Understand, they all have different eligibility. So pick up the phone and get that money. It's money available right now. That's my focus, always getting you money right now, not 5 weeks from now, not 5 months from now. I'm back next with you with Mornings Crypto at 10 a.m. live, and then at noontime at 11 a.m. with Noontime live. It'll be a brand new show. And then back at 1 o'clock with Afternoons LA, and then a new Afternoons LA at 3, a new Evenings LA at 5. And then our shows kick in at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11:30 tonight as well. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000 to 3,000 likes. Stay with me all weekend long because we're going to have a lot of breaking news and other exclusives this weekend. And sign up for those LA alerts as well. The toast is toasting, the butter is buttering, the coffee is brewing, and I'll see you next on Mornings Crypto.